All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Subhadra Ramachandran. The headlines. Extremely severe cyclonic storm Tauktae weakens after crossing Gujarat coast. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to interact with state and district officials across the country on COVID-19 management. Plasma therapy dropped from India's corona treatment protocol as it was found ineffective. More than 18 crore and 44 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. US to share 80 million doses of corona vaccine with the world. 2 West Bengal ministers and a Trinamool Congress MLA sent to jail following their arrest by CBI in Narada case. Government says WhatsApp's new privacy policy violates Indian IT rules. Tribal Affairs Ministry and Microsoft sign MOU for digital transformation of tribal schools. And US imposes new sanctions on Myanmar's administrative body and high-ranking officials following military coup. As the number of COVID cases is on the rise, we appeal to our listeners not to lower their guard. Follow all the precautions and all those above 44 years who've taken the first dose of COVID-19 vaccine to get vaccinated with the second dose at the scheduled time. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask. Maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news. Extremely severe cyclonic storm Tauktae has weakened into a very severe cyclonic storm after hitting Gujarat coast. Tauktae has now crossed the Gujarat coast and lies overland. India Meteorological Department IMD said Tauktae, with winds gusting up to 185 km per hour, began making landfall on the Gujarat coast last night. Apart from Gujarat, Tauktae also forced governments in coastal areas of Maharashtra, Kerala and Goa to issue alerts to its citizens and concerned authorities. Dadar and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu have also been put on high alert. Armed forces and the National Disaster Response Force, NDRF, have been carrying out evacuation operations. Earlier yesterday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to Chief Ministers of Gujarat, Goa and Maharashtra, assuring the centre's assistance in rescue operations and other relief measures. AIR Ahmedabad correspondent reports that coastal areas of Gir, Somnath, Bhavnagar and Amreli districts are receiving heavy rainfall with high velocity of wind.
Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani closely monitored the entire process of landfall from the State Emergency Operation Center in Gandhinagar. He also spoke to the concerned district collectors and asked them to ensure all possible steps to save human lives. Widespread power outage was reported from Rajula and Jafrabad Taluka of Amreli district and Kodinar and Una in Gir Somnath district. The maximum impact of the cyclonic storm was witnessed in Porbandar, Junagadh, Gir Somnath, Amreli and Bhavnagar districts of Saurashtra. Earlier, more than 2 lakh persons had been evacuated and shifted to safer places. About 50 teams of NDRF are engaged in the rescue and relief works in the coastal areas of Gujarat. Yogesh Pandya, AIR News, Ahmedabad.
The extremely severe cyclone Tauktae has left a trail of destruction after it crossed over through Maharashtra yesterday. Widespread damage is being witnessed in the coastal districts of Ratnagiri, Sindhudurg and Raigad. In Ratnagiri, electricity supply of more than 3,600 villages housing 18,42,000 people has been affected due to the cyclonic storm. Meanwhile, the IMD has said that for the next 2 days, the sea will be rough and the wind speed will be between 65 and 85 kilometers per hour. During this period, fishermen have been advised not to venture into the sea. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
More than 13,000 employees of Maharashtra State Electricity Board have been tirelessly working to restore the power supply caused due to cyclonic storm Tauktae. Around 138 substations of MSEB were shut. However, out of that, 78 substations were restarted. In Palghar, more than 198,000 people were affected due to the snapping of power distribution wires. However, at some places, the power restoration has been done by the MSEB. 4 people were killed and 6 injured in Raigad district. More than 5,000 houses in the district have been partially damaged and around 550 electric poles of MSEB have been uprooted due to the strong winds. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with field officials from states and districts today to talk about their experience in handling the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of these districts have seen a huge surge in cases and widespread infection. Through their interaction with the Prime Minister, the officials will share some best practices in addition to suggestions and recommendations for continuing country's ongoing battle against COVID-19, especially in semi-urban and rural areas. Officials from Karnataka, Bihar, Assam, Chandigarh, Tamil Nadu, Uttarakhand, MP, Goa, Himachal Pradesh and Delhi will take part in the meeting. The battle against COVID-19 across various states and districts is being led at the cutting edge by field-level officials. Many of them have shown great initiative and come out with imaginative solutions. A better appreciation of such initiatives will help towards developing effective response plan, targeted strategy implementation, and support necessary policy interventions. The centre has dropped plasma therapy from COVID treatment protocol. COVID National Task Force yesterday released new clinical guidelines for management of mild, moderate and severe COVID cases. Plasma therapy does not find a mention under the new guidelines. The decision came on the basis of recommendations of experts from AIIMS, ICMR COVID-19 National Task Force and Joint Monitoring Group of Union Health Ministry. Members of the ICMR National Task Force for COVID-19 met on Friday to deliberate upon the effectiveness of plasma therapy, which gained momentum last year, just during the onset of the pandemic. However, in the recent meeting, all the members of the task force were in favor of removing the use of convalescent plasma from the clinical guidance for management of adult COVID-19 patients, citing its ineffectiveness and inappropriate use in several cases. Indian Council of Medical Research, ICMR, has said that they will issue an advisory on the matter soon. The plasma therapy, which includes transfusion of COVID-19 antibodies from the blood of a recovered patient to the one being treated, has not been found effective in reducing the progression to severe disease, nor has a decrease in the fatality rate has been observed.
India has administered more than 18 crore 44 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine in the country so far. The Health Ministry said that more than 14,79,000 beneficiaries were inoculated with COVID-19 vaccine doses yesterday, out of which more than 12,42,000 beneficiaries were vaccinated for the first dose and more than 2,36,000 beneficiaries received the second dose. The ministry said more than 6,63,000 beneficiaries of the age group 18 to 44 years received their first dose of COVID vaccine yesterday, and cumulatively over 59,32,000 across 36 states and union territories. The liberalized and accelerated Phase 3 strategy of COVID-19 vaccination has come into force from the 1st of this month. The cumulative share of active COVID cases in the country has declined to comprise nearly 14.09% of the total reported cases. The Health Ministry has informed that currently over 35,16,000 people are reported to be suffering from the viral infection and are either hospitalized or under home isolation. In the last 24 hours, the nation registered 281,386 new COVID cases. With this, the recovery rate has further improved to stand at 84.81%. The Health Ministry has informed that 4,106 COVID-related deaths were reported in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative toll to 2,74,390.
The COVID-19 death toll in Himachal Pradesh rose to 2,369. Chief Minister Jairam Thakur has expressed concern over the rise in COVID-19 related deaths in the state. Our correspondent reports that during last week, 28,817 positive cases with a positivity rate of 28.9% were recorded in the state, and in the same period, 439 deaths also occurred with case fatality rate of 1.52%. We have more from our Shimla correspondent.
Expressing concern over the increase in deaths related to COVID-19 in the state, Chief Minister Jairam Thakur directed the Health Department to ensure that all the test reports related to COVID were made available within 36 hours. Meanwhile, 3,456 fresh COVID cases were reported in the state yesterday, taking the tally to 1,63,786. Besides, 58 persons also died of the virus in the past 24 hours. On the other hand, 3,760 more individuals recovered from COVID infection yesterday, taking the total recoveries to 1,24,750. Sanjeev Sundaryal, AIR News, Shimla.
Uttarakhand government has extended curfew in the state till May 25th morning. Cabinet Minister Subodh Unyal told media persons last night that only 20 people will be allowed to attend a marriage ceremony and all of them should have RT-PCR negative report. Also, the doctor's prescription will be treated as curfew pass in the state. Mr. Unyal said the timings of banks will now be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and registration on state government portal is necessary to enter Uttarakhand from Uttar Pradesh border.
In Uttarakhand, portals of Badrinath Shrine were opened this morning with traditional fervour and gaiety after the winter break. Portals were opened amid chanting of Vedic mantras and performance of other religious rituals. The temple was specially decorated with flowers to mark the occasion. Only priests and few senior district administration officials were present on the occasion due to COVID-19 pandemic. Social distancing and other COVID protocols were ensured during the opening of the portals. The state government has suspended the Char Dham Yatra following the surge in COVID pandemic in the state. Earlier, portals of the other three shrines, Gangotri, Yamunotri and Kedarnath, were thrown open. In Uttar Pradesh, there has been a sharp decline in COVID infection as per the official data. First time after more than 45 days, the number of new COVID patients in the state is less than 10,000. More from our Lucknow correspondent.
Total 9,391 new cases were found in last 24 hours in state. This number is almost 29,000 less than the highest number during the peak of second wave of COVID-19 in state on 24th April when total cases in one day were around 38,000. In last 24 hours, more than 23,000 patients have recovered from this deadly virus. Currently, state has around 1.5 lakh active COVID cases, which is almost half of the cases at the peak time of second wave in state. Overall, 52% decrease has been registered in the number of COVID cases in state in last 18 days. Recovery rate has also increased to 89.8%. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
Bihar government has launched HIT COVID app to ensure regular monitoring and tracking of those COVID-19 patients who are in home isolation across the state. HIT stands for Home Isolation Tracking. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar said the app will help the healthcare workers in regular monitoring of home isolated patients. Health workers will visit the patients at home every day and feed data in the app after measuring their temperature and oxygen levels. These data will be monitored at the district level. If the oxygen level is below 94, the patient will be shifted to the nearby dedicated COVID health centers for proper treatment.
Telangana government has decided to set up oxygen production plants of 324 metric tons capacity in 48 government hospitals across the state to make the state self-reliant on oxygen supply to COVID-19 patients. This includes an additional 100 metric ton capacity in Hyderabad. Later, he appealed to COVID-19 patients to undergo treatment in government hospitals free of cost. He urged people to take advantage of the facilities in government hospitals, including oxygen, beds and medicines, for free instead of going to private hospitals and spending huge amounts. The government also decided to set up 6 new medical colleges along with attached nursing colleges. Odisha government has decided to undertake a 3-month-long house-to-house survey for COVID symptoms and comorbid conditions in people. The statewide survey, to commence from the 24th of this month, will be conducted by ASHAs and ANMS. For this, they will be incentivized with 1,000 rupees each per month for 3 months. We have more from our Bhubaneswar correspondent.
Announcing this, Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik said Community engagement is the main pillar of the state's COVID-19 management, saying that the sarpanchs across the state will continue to have the powers of a district collector in enforcing lockdown at the micro level. Mr. Patnaik also announced a financial assistance of 10,000 rupees each to about 46,000 Gram Kalyan Samitis or village welfare committees to work for COVID-19 containment and control. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
The Co-Win platform is being made available in Hindi and 14 regional languages by next week. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan informed this at the 26th meeting of the high-level group of ministers GOM on COVID-19 in New Delhi. The Co-Win platform is used for registration for COVID-19 vaccination. The platform is handling minute details for India's COVID-19 immunization program, including registering beneficiaries, allocating vaccination centers, sending text messages to beneficiaries.
To address the problems faced by elderly persons in the context of COVID-19 pandemic, the centre has started a toll-free helpline for them. The toll-free number is 14567. Presently, the facility is operational in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Efforts are underway to make the call centres functional in all states by the end of this month. This helpline for senior citizens, Elderline, has been operationalized with the assistance of Tata Trusts and NSC Foundation. The government has said that the production capacity of Remdesivir has increased to nearly 1,19 lakh vials per month from 38 lakh vials per month. Chemical and Fertilizers Ministry said the Department of Pharmaceuticals had intensified monitoring of availability, production and supply of drugs used for COVID-19 treatment in early April this year. The export of Remdesivir has been prohibited since the 11th of last month. The ministry said 76 lakh vials in total have been allocated among the states for the period of up to 23rd May. Earlier, the central government had also provided 1,31 lakh Remdesivir to states and union territories between 21st of last month and 7th of May 2021.
Railways has delivered more than 10,300 tons of liquid medical oxygen to 13 states. Railway Ministry said Railways is continuing its journey of bringing relief by delivering liquid medical oxygen to various states across the country. Oxygen expresses have been delivering nearly 800 tons of liquid medical oxygen to the nation each day. The ministry said in spite of upcoming cyclone Tauktae, Railways run 2 oxygen expresses early morning from Gujarat to beat high winds and deliver 150 tons of oxygen to the nation. The ministry said nearly 160 oxygen expresses have completed their journey so far and brought relief to various states. U.S. President Joe Biden has announced that the United States will share 80 million vaccine doses globally over the next 6 weeks, 5 times more than any other country has shared to date, which represents 13% of vaccines produced in the country by June end. The 80 million doses will include 20 million doses of Moderna, Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson vaccines as well as AstraZeneca. The U.S. has already announced it will share 60 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine with other countries by July 4th. The President has said that the U.S. will distribute all of its AstraZeneca vaccine produced in the country once authorized by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Biden also touted that this latest announcement will make the U.S. a leader in sharing vaccine supplies, outpacing both China and Russia.
French Ambassador to India, Emmanuel Lenaire, has said that 80 tons of oxygen has been delivered to Indian hospitals and more is underway due to an oxygen bridge that also includes Qatar. He posted a map with its tweet explaining how supplies are getting to India with contribution of the Indian Navy and the Indian Air Force. He said that oxygen donated by Air Liquide Group, a French multinational, is filled in oxygen tankers in Qatar and brought by Indian Navy for distribution in hospitals in India. The containers are flown back by the Indian Air Force for refilling.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Extremely severe cyclonic storm Tauktae weakens after crossing Gujarat coast. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to interact with state and district officials across the country on COVID-19 management. Plasma therapy dropped from India's corona treatment protocol as it was found ineffective. More than 18 crore 44 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. U.S. to share 80 million doses of corona vaccine with the world. Two West Bengal ministers and the Trinamool Congress MLA sent to jail following their arrest by CBI in Narada case. Government says WhatsApp's new private policy violates Indian IT rules. Tribal Affairs Ministry and Microsoft sign MOU for digital transformation of tribal schools, and US imposes new sanctions on Myanmar's administrative body and high-ranking officials following military coup. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Calcutta High Court has stayed the interim bail granted to 4 West Bengal leaders arrested by the CBI in Narada case. The special CBI court had granted bail to 3 Trinamool Congress leaders, Subrata Mukherjee, Firhad Hakim and Madan Mitra, and former Mayor Shovan Chatterjee yesterday evening. Within a few hours, the High Court stayed the lower court order and directed that the accused person shall be treated to be in judicial custody. The High Court fixed the date of next hearing on 19th of May. All 4 accused have been sent to Presidency Jail. All 4 leaders were the then ministers of TMC when the Narada sting operation was conducted. They were caught on camera accepting money during the sting operation done by Matthew Samuel of Narada News. The centre told Delhi High Court that it views the new privacy policy of WhatsApp as a violation of the Indian Information Technology IT law and rules. The government sought directions to the social media platform to make it clear that it is conforming to the same. The government's claim was made before a bench of Chief Justice D.N. Patel and Justice Jyoti Singh during hearing of several pleas challenging WhatsApp's new privacy policy, which according to the platform has come into effect from May the 15th and has not been deferred. WhatsApp told the court that while its new privacy policy has come into effect from May the 15th, it will not start deleting accounts of those users who have not accepted it and will try to encourage them to get on board. The platform said there was no universal or uniform time limit after which it will start to delete accounts, as each user will be dealt with on case-to-case basis. The bench issued notice to the Centre, Facebook and WhatsApp and sought their stand on one of the pleas by a lawyer who has claimed that the new policy violates users' right to privacy under the Constitution.
Tribal Affairs Ministry and Microsoft have signed an MOU for digital transformation of tribal schools such as Eklavya Model Residential Schools and Ashram Schools. The collaboration seeks to skill educators and students in next-generation digital technologies, including artificial intelligence. Under the program, 250 Eklavya Model Residential School EMRS have been adopted by Microsoft, out of which 50 EMRS schools will be given intensive training. In the first phase, 500 master trainers will be trained. Speaking on the occasion, Tribal Affairs Minister Arjun Munda said that this program will prove beneficial in terms of readiness, preparedness of the students at various international forums. Mr. Munda said, for the success of Digital India mission, every segment of the society needs to be empowered. He hoped that this Microsoft program will be able to bridge the gap between the tribal students and others. MyGov, the citizen engagement platform of the government, has launched an innovation challenge for creating an Indian language learning app. This innovation challenge has been launched to take forward Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of celebrating India's cultural diversity through greater interaction. MyGov has launched the innovation challenge to create an app that will enable individuals to learn simple sentences of any Indian language and acquire working knowledge of a language. The objective is to create an app that will promote regional language literacy and create greater cultural understanding. The innovation challenge is open to Indian individuals, startups and companies. It closes on 27th of May.
The government has said that 1,85 lakh persons have been offered work in May this year under Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, MGNREGA, despite COVID-19 pandemic. The work offered is 52% higher in comparison to May 2019. Rural Development Ministry said the government has ensured that the development works across the country should not be affected due to the second wave of COVID-19. It said during the period, the country has witnessed speed and progress in various schemes under the ministry. Apart from the developmental works, the ministry has also trained nodal persons at state, district and block levels to tackle the COVID-19 situation in rural areas under Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana, National Rural Livelihoods Mission. The Supreme Court will hear today a fresh petition filed by former Mumbai Police Commissioner Parambir Singh seeking directions for transfer of all probes ordered against him outside Maharashtra. A two-judge vacation bench of the Apex Court, comprising Justice Vineet Saran and Justice B.R. Gavai, will hear the fresh petition filed by the former Mumbai Police Chief. Mr. Singh, in his petition filed before the Supreme Court, claimed that he faced a witch hunt in the case, as he had accused the then Home Minister Anil Deshmukh of fixing 100 crore rupees monthly extortion target during his stint as Mumbai Police Commissioner.
United States has imposed new sanctions on Myanmar's administrative body and high-ranking officials in the latest punitive move following the country's military coup on February 1. U.S. Treasury Department said that 13 of the individuals sanctioned last night are key members of Myanmar's military regime, which is violently repressing the pro-democracy movement in the country and is responsible for the ongoing violent and lethal attacks against the people of Myanmar, including killing of children. At least 774 civilians have been killed in crackdowns against pro-democracy protesters following the February 1 coup. The UN, US and UK have called for more protection for the civilians caught in intensive violence between Israel and Palestinian militants. International concern was sparked after the footage of children being pulled from the rubble in Gaza and people running for shelter surfaced. The conflict is now in its second week with a little sign of a ceasefire. More than 212 people, including 61 children, have died in Gaza and 10 including 2 children in Israel.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for the day. Jammu will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was 22 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 35 degrees. Srinagar will have partly cloudy sky, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. The temperature will hover between 11 and 24 degrees Celsius. Leh is expected to have generally cloudy sky with the minimum and maximum temperatures between 6 and 17 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have partly cloudy skies. The temperature will hover between 15 and 28 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad is also likely to have a mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was 16 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 35 degrees. Dehradun will have thunderstorms with hail. The minimum temperature was 21 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 33 degrees. Chandigarh will have a generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The national capital Delhi is likely to have a generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Hindustan Times shows a photograph of Mumbai's Gateway of India being lashed by waves with a headline, Extremely Severe Tauktae lashes India's western coast. Mumbai bears the brunt. Airport closed, power outages across the city, writes the paper. Cyclone makes Gujarat landfall after it batters Maharashtra, 6 die, reports the Asian Age. The Times of India headline reads, Saurashtra bears brunt as Tauktae hits Gujarat, great danger signs up. Delhi's positivity rate eases to 8.4%, 4,524 fresh cases, writes the Hindustan Times. Daily cases below 3 lakh after 26 days, reports the Tribune. Caseload 4-week low. India turns the corner, headlines the Pioneer. India drops plasma therapy from COVID treatment protocol, reports the Indian Express. Adverse effects after Covishield jab minuscule in India, says a government panel, writes the Statesman. And finally, DRDO's anti-COVID drug to hit the market in June, writes the Hindu. Business line. The Pioneer headline state, Desi game-changing drug launched.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Extremely severe cyclonic storm Tauktae weakens after crossing Gujarat coast. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to interact with state and district officials across the country on COVID-19 management. Plasma therapy dropped from India's corona treatment protocol as it was found ineffective. More than 18 crore 44 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered in the country so far. US to share 80 million doses of corona vaccine with the world. 2 West Bengal ministers and a Trinamool Congress MLA sent to jail following their arrest by CBI in Narada case. Government says WhatsApp's new privacy policy violates Indian IT rules. Tribal Affairs Ministry and Microsoft sign MOU for digital transformation of tribal schools. And US imposes new sanctions on Myanmar's administrative body and high-ranking officials following military coup. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.